Awesome. Thank you so much. Let me share my screen. Get it going. Awesome. Thank you again so much for having me on this amazing summit. I'm so honored to be here. As you mentioned, my lecture is called Plant Powered: How to Prevent or Reverse Chronic Diseases, Lose Weight, and Feel Great with the Power of Whole Plants. And so my hope is that at the end of this lecture, you'll feel empowered to take control of your health destiny and inspired to create your best health with food. So you kind of went through a quick intro. And so, yes, I'm a certified plant-based health coach, founded Simply Plant-Based Kitchen, so that I can help people make whole food plant-based eating simple, easy, and delicious to make it a lifestyle so they can support their health. Because I know how hard it was for me when I first got started eating whole food plant-based. There was, a lot of frustrations and lots of things to learn. And so I started my business to help people make it simple and easy and enjoyable so they can make it a lifestyle and not a temporary diet. So let me start off by talking a little bit about my why, what brought me to eating whole food plant-based, quitting my teaching job of 17 years and starting my business, Simply Plant-Based Kitchen. And that was because of my dad. He was a really big influence on my life, like many dads are for their daughters. And growing up, I didn't think that my dad actually ate that bad. But even so, he had heart disease, high blood pressure, high cholesterol. He had a quadruple bypass, prostate cancer, and the worst was the Alzheimer's the last 10 years of his life. And looking back, knowing what I know now, he was absolutely eating the standard American diet. Now, it was the healthy version, with grilled or baked chicken, white rice, maybe a small side of veggies. And he passed away from a stroke just days after his 83rd birthday in April of 2018, which today is actually the anniversary of his birthday. He would have been 89 today. So this was really a big wake-up call for my life. I was at a major loss. I just turned 40, lost my dad to Alzheimer's. I was overweight, tired, had joint pain and brain fog. And I knew if I didn't make a major change, I was headed right down the same path. And I didn't want to put my kids through that. I didn't want to miss out on their lives either. And I knew that a plant-based diet was something I needed to do, but I was hesitant because I had actually tried years before, but I couldn't make it stick. And it actually took me several months after losing my dad before I actually made the change. So I went back and read all the science I could get my hands on to find out what was really the best way to eat for health. And again, like you mentioned, I read all the books by the great doctors, Dr. Greger, Dr. Ornish, Dr. Esselstyn, so many others. And it really strengthened my resolve to try again and make this my lifestyle. So this is my before and after. The before picture was taken the week of my dad's funeral out on our farm. So almost 6 years ago. And I was wearing my muumuu dress and trying to hide behind my kids because I was so embarrassed about how I looked in photos. And actually at this point, what was bothering me now is my face was now puffy. And that really is the last straw because you can't hide your face in pictures. So I recommitted to eating whole food plant-based, but this time I had a different mindset, one of progress, not perfection, and finding and creating simple and easy recipes that didn't take a ton of time. And in just 3 months, I lost over 20 pounds, 17 inches, just by filling my body with whole plants. But not only that, the brain fog I'd been experiencing and was really concerned about just lifted in just a matter of a few weeks. And I had more energy. I felt happier. My cravings disappeared. My joints didn't hurt anymore. And I was like, this is amazing. I want to just tell everybody I possibly can. So I did, started my business, Simply Plant-Based Kitchen, got my plant-based nutrition certification from eCornell and the T. Colin Campbell Center of Nutrition Studies, as well as the health coaching certification from Institute of Integrative Nutrition. So I want to make sure I was sharing all the best science and information to really help people be successful. And I've been so blessed to be featured on different websites and podcasts, and I've now published my first book, Plant Powered, which has been an Amazon bestseller in the vegan diet category since it was published. So I want to make sure you know that I'm sharing scientific studies for everything I'll be talking about today, and I've compiled them all on this URL, this web address, plantbaseddietclass.com/references. So as you go along, there'll be a little subscript, and you can go to that website and see the studies that I'm referencing. So these are all evidence-based. These are not just random figures I'm making up. So you can dig into a little bit more of the science and the studies if you want to learn more. So before I talk about plant-based diets, I want to make sure everybody's on kind of the same page with what's wrong with animal-based diets. So our standard American diet, also known as SAD, because it is sad, is causing an explosion in chronic diseases. Most Americans and other westernized countries get 90% of their calories from animal products, processed foods, and dairy. And only about 10% comes from whole plants like vegetables, fruits, whole grains, beans, nuts, and seeds. And this actually includes French fries. So if you take out French fries, that's only 5% of calories from whole plants. And because of this, we've had just seen a huge increase in chronic diseases that were practically unheard of 100 years ago. Diseases like cancer, heart disease, dementia, autoimmune disorders, allergies, type 2 diabetes, and so much more are just so common. We are literally eating ourselves to death. So you may be wondering, what is so wrong with meat? Well, there's been a lot of research over the past and recent decades that show a strong connection between eating animal products and an increase in many chronic diseases. In the Nurses' Health Study, those who ate the most red and processed meats increased their risk of type 2 diabetes by 62%. And a 2023 study showed that white and red meat both increase risk of cardiovascular disease, meaning white meat really isn't a better choice. Then there's something called TMAOs, or trimethylamine N oxides, and they're produced in the gut when we eat animal products. And these TMAOs have been linked to heart disease, cancer, and stroke. And when they studied the guts of vegans, they found that they do not produce these TMAOs, which may help explain vegans' lower risk of these chronic diseases. Then there's IGF-1, which is insulin-like growth factor. And this is good when you're a child and growing, but when you're an adult, IGF-1 makes everything grow, including cancer cells. So we don't want too much IGF-1 when we're full-grown adults. And studies show increased IGF-1 levels are associated with an increased risk of cancer. And it turns out that higher IGF-1 levels are associated with higher intake of animal protein, but plant protein is associated with lower levels of IGF-1. And this may be one of the reasons why a plant-based diet is associated with a lower risk of cancer. And you might say, well, what about fish? Isn't that healthy? Well, unfortunately, no. It's still an animal protein that's going to produce TMAOs in the gut. It has cholesterol, saturated fat, but not only that, most of the fish these days is highly polluted with mercury, dioxins, PCBs, even microplastics because of all the pollution. And this actually goes for both fresh caught and farm raised. Lastly, processed meats are just the worst. They are actually designated a Group 1 carcinogen by the World Health Organization, just like cigarettes and asbestos, because there is such a strong link to cancer. Foods like deli meats, ham, turkey, bacon, jerky, sausage, hot dogs, canned meats. Just one serving daily can increase your risk of colon cancer by 18%, and even just a half a serving daily was associated with a 21% increase in breast cancer. You know, before I went plant-based, I would eat at Subway sometimes every day for lunch. And I thought I was making a healthy choice, getting a lean turkey sandwich on wheat bread. And it makes me so sad that this information isn't more mainstream, because I even have more friends and relatives being diagnosed with breast cancer. Now, does dairy actually do a body good? You know, it's kind of odd that we are the only species to drink milk or eat products made from another species' milk. And milk really is the perfect food for a baby calf. It's an amazing fluid that turns a 65-pound calf into a 500-pound cow in just a year. And the dairy industry likes to promote milk, cheese, and yogurt for its protein content, but we don't really need that much. In fact, human breast milk is the lowest of any mammal at around 4 to 6% protein, and that's for a very fast-growing baby. Like Dr. Michael Clapper says, the human body has no more need for cow's milk than it does for dog's milk, horse's milk, or giraffe's milk. Could you imagine drinking giraffe's milk? But what about the claim that dairy makes strong bones? The dairy industry says that since dairy milk has calcium and calcium makes strong bones, then drinking milk should make strong bones. I mean, kind of makes sense, right? Well, it turns out that the countries with the highest consumption of dairy products also have the highest levels of osteoporosis. You would think that would be the opposite with all the marketing we hear about milk and strong bones. And Harvard did a study following women, and that showed that drinking milk does not protect against osteoporosis or bone fractures. And in fact, the studies have shown that countries with the highest fruit and vegetable intake actually have the lowest risk of osteoporosis. There was a longitudinal study in 2016 published in the Journal of Bone and Mineral Research, and researchers found a high intake of calcium from dairy did not offer protection from bone fractures, while a lower intake of calcium from plant-derived foods was protective. The lower calcium intake sourced from plants were found to be the most protective, with no added benefits for consuming above that range. And the authors concluded a plant-based diet may be associated with a lower requirement for calcium intake for bone health compared with westernized diets. Calcium from dark leafy greens like broccoli, bok choy, and kale is absorbed actually twice as well as calcium in milk. And plants also come with so many other bone strengthening nutrients that don't come from dairy or animal products, like magnesium, potassium, vitamin C, vitamin K, and vitamin D, which we actually get from the sun. So calcium is not the only factor in bone health. Now, hormones can also have an impact on cancer risk, and the hormone estrogen has a central role in endometrial cancer. Most of our exposure to hormones actually comes from dairy products, especially estrogen. And Harvard did a study of tens of thousands of women and found that those who consumed more dairy had a significantly higher rate of endometrial cancer in postmenopausal women. Now, this is because all food of animal origin contains hormones. They produce them naturally in their body, just like we humans do. And 3/4 of our consumption of female sex hormones actually comes from dairy products. So how do we get exposed to so much estrogen from dairy? Well, it's because they keep the cows constantly pregnant or lactating to produce the most amount of milk. Since they're pregnant or lactating, they also produce significant amounts of estrogen and progesterone, both of which end up in the milk. Now, estrogen is concentrated even more when we make dairy products like cheese and butter, and this is all from natural hormones. This is not additives. It's why the food manufacturers can't put hormone-free on any dairy or meat labels. They can only say no added hormones. This goes for whether they're organic and grass-fed as well. Organic or not, animals produce hormones because they're animals, just like we produce our own hormones. And did you know that up to 20% of all cancers are actually caused by viruses? And there's a virus called Bovine Leukemia virus, which infects the udders of cows. And anywhere from 60 to 89% of all cows are infected with this virus in the US. This is a known cancer-causing virus. And when they tested the milk, 100% of all milk from factory farms was infected with bovine leukemia. And in a study of 250 people, tests were performed on their blood to see if they had the antibodies to this virus, which means they'd been exposed to it, and found that 74% of them did, in fact, have the antibodies. A study looking at breast tissue showed that 44% were positive for the bovine leukemia virus. But does that mean that the virus is actually causing the breast cancer? To find out, scientists would have to look at whether this virus is more commonly found in women with breast cancer, and they have done that. In a 2014 study, researchers found the presence of this bovine leukemia DNA in breast tissue was strongly associated with diagnosed and confirmed breast cancer. So as many as 37% of breast cancer cases may be due to bovine leukemia exposure.